Good morning, class. This is your shine demo. And to illustrate my point, I have my water bottle here, pardon the bad photo, and you can see a definite highlight on one side. And of course you can have the highlight over here as well. I just prefer that it not be down the middle. So when I apply that to a figure, you can see over here, I hope, my little light source. And because the body is a series of cylinders, you know, the head, the neck, arms, torso, legs, I am going to place my highlight along the top curve of those limbs across the body where the bust comes out, and then the bust goes in, and then the high hip comes out. So I'm going to put a sliver over here and all down the forward leg. Then I'm going to apply it, the light source, to a slip dress. Now this slip dress is gliding over the body. It's very, very light. It doesn't have a real structured fit because it is cut on the bias, which means it's cut on an angle. And I'm envisioning this in a silk charmeuse, which is very pliable, very drapey. So the only kind of dart I'm really going to need on here is a bust dart. So it's not going to really hug the body, but it is going to be very revealing. So I'm envisioning rendering this in a black, but I don't have a number 4 gray. I only have a number 2, so I have to do the best I can. So like the figure over on the left, I'm going to put a highlight here, down one side, around this bias fold, forward leg, and because each flare acts like a cylinder, I'm going to have a little highlight here and maybe a touch on the high hip. So I'm going to render this in my gray number 2, and as you see, I am going to go around these highlight areas, and I'm just going to leave a little sliver like this. This is a very quick rendering. A lot of times I mess it up and I fill in where I want to leave white, but it's fast, and then I just do it again. So I'm just going to go around here over this forward leg, just like this, fill in here, and I just want a little tiny bit of white over this high hip, and touch the straps. And if you do fill something in with your marker, we can always add the white after. So starting with this gray base, and like I said before, if I had a slightly darker gray, I would have preferred that, but I don't. So here we are with the whites of the highlight matching up with my figure, but I want to really show the body coming through here. Right now she looks flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black pencil like this, my black Prismacolor pencil, not a graphite, and I'm going to start shading all the places, whoop, I got it, where the body's going to go in. So under the breasts, and remember my light source is still over here, so I'm going to get darker over here, more shadow on this side, shadow where one leg is coming through, shadow under here, maybe a little bit here in the fold, and as I wrap around to this side, a little tiny bit of shadow here. So I'm going to start to build this up, and a little shadow under the knee like this on one side of the flare where the flare overlaps another flare. And then remember my handy dandy rubbing tool. I want to really rub this so it's nice and smooth. This silk charmeuse has absolutely no texture. It's shiny and flat, so I don't want this to look too textury. Don't want it to look textury at all. So I'm really going to rub in here. You can use a valuable piece of tissue if you dare. So I'm going to keep rubbing it and building up till it looks like this. When I'm all finished, I'm going to really sharpen this black pencil and do a very crisp, remember your outline should reflect your fabric, so this is a very crisp outline, but it really has to be fluid. So it's just going to glide over and really has to show some kind of flow. Now if you want to try it another way, and you think this is a little dangerous, you can always take a gray marker like a 7 or an 8, color the whole thing in. And then when you're done, take a white pencil and start building your whites on top. And there's nothing wrong with doing this. It's just a different look, and both ways are perfectly fine. Remember, there's always more than one way to do something. Now keep in mind, if you have any interesting details that are dimensional, like gathering or shirring at the waist, that you're going to want to highlight around those gathers because they are dimensional and the light is going to keep hitting the tops of those folds. Also, if you have something crisp like taffeta, even your whites are going to be crisp. Here I am just blending this white out a little bit with a white pencil. So the white is going to be jaggedy, just like your outline. If you have anything soft and full like a Duchess satin, your folds and your shine will follow and be very soft and full as well. For the very last thing, we're going to look at sequins. Now sequins are dimensional shine because, you know, those sequins lay one on top of each other. But you can see here on this dress that it's catching the light just like it did on my slip dress. So the first thing I would do is I would treat this exactly the way I did with my slip dress before. I would cover everything up with a dark gray, like gray number 7 or an 8. Then I would shade it with my black Prismacolor pencil. Same way, under the bust, one side, one leg, each flare, etc. Then I would take the Sharpie and I'm going to put little sequin dots only in the places where I want my highlight. So across the bust, down one side, the forward leg, and the flares, and a little bit on the high hip. That represents the shadowing of the sequins. And for my last step, I use my Presto, and I try to dot right over those little Sharpie dots, like that. So the Sharpie kind of gives dimension to the sequins and shadow, and I'm just going to bring a few over, but I definitely don't want to cover the entire dress with sequins because that's going to look overdone. When I'm all finished, it will look like this. Some places I even concentrated white to illustrate where the light is very concentrated. So that's it. Good luck, class. And if you have any questions, you can always email.